What happens if you say no when swearing into court? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? No. What happens next? I've seen it twice. Once while impaneling jurors. Judge just excused him. The second time was at some sort of hearing. Maybe regarding bond. And the judge rehabilitated the witness. Okay. You won't swear. But do you understand that you've got to be honest? And you will be completely truthful while testifying. All right, counselor. Proceed. There are ways around it. But contempt could become a possibility. You can't plead the fifth unless you could be jailed. Short version. So a random witness can't take the fifth. You get introduced to an exciting new concept called contempt of court. They will ask you if you will affirm, then if you have an objection to swearing. If you get cute with the judge, you will quickly find out if they are tolerant, have a sense of humor, or want to teach you a lesson. You will not be allowed to testify. I would imagine you would be found in contempt of court. Believe it or not, straight to jail. Insert Parks and Rec GIF. Contempt of court. From. The court may order the sheriff or other proper officer of any county to take into custody and commit to jail any person fined for a contempt until such fine shall be paid or discharged. If unable to pay such fine, such person may be committed to jail by the court for not exceeding 3 months. Contempt of court and maybe jail, especially if you have some important evidence and you led the court to believe you were going to testify. A fine is possible too for every day you refuse to testify. You don't get to testify. If it's compelled testimony, i.e. the court subpoenaed you, you get tossed in jail for contempt of court. Otherwise, the lawyers have a stern talk with you and you either decide to tell the truth or you go home. They take you out back and shoot you. What if you're a pathological liar that just can't help yourself? Then again, if you are, you'd probably just swear in saying yes with every intent to lie. Okay, leave. It really depends on the circumstances. If you are testifying voluntarily, you simply won't be allowed to give any testimony without being sworn in. If you are compelled to give testimony, you'll probably be advised of this and discuss it with your attorney. If after that you refuse to be sworn in, you are likely to be held in contempt of court. They wouldn't allow you to testify or tell your side of the story. It would be interesting if someone had been diagnosed as a compulsive liar. Maybe they could get away with it. In the US system, you can't give testimony if you do not swear or agree to only tell the truth, under penalty of perjury. How a judge reacts is dependent on the court, case, judge, etc. If the witness is being compelled to testify, such as the suspect or witness in a criminal proceeding, they can plead the fifth or refuse to testify and risk contempt and sabotaging their case before the jury. Fundamentally, if you are ordered to do something by a court, you must comply or be held in contempt of that court. Here's what I don't understand. You can only plead the fifth if it involves incriminating yourself, but then do you have to prove you would be incriminating yourself? Couldn't you technically just keep pleading the fifth if you claim to not know every law? Because anything could be a crime. In English courts, you can affirm rather than swear. If you don't confirm that you understand you have to tell the truth, it's likely to be considered contempt of court. This thread is a great example of why you shouldn't trust randos on Reddit for advice on anything that matters. Nearly every comment is proudly proclaiming a fact like they know what they're talking about. followed by reply proudly proclaiming they're full of shit and we should listen to them because clearly they're the ones who know what they're talking about. Wisconsin has an oath that requires prospective jurors to swear to tell the truth to all questions asked during qualification. The oath includes something like the phrase "swear to God." I found that phrase extremely offensive but didn't object. I was not selected. If I am called again, I will refuse to take that oath and cite the Constitution in which it says that no religious test shall be required for any office in the nation. And a juror is an office. An oath to a non-existent deity is meaningless and binds no one. In the UK, you may be held in contempt of court. Is the short of it. Not something you want to do. It won't favor your position with the judge or jury and make you look guilty from the get-go. You do, however, have the right to remain mute. However, inferences may be drawn in respect to any guilt. You want a judge and jury to like and trust you. Now, this can lead to contempt of court. They used to say that "so help you God" shit at the end, and I would always say "no, I'm an atheist." The judge would then rephrase it as "do you affirm?" And I'd then say yes. Luckily they just say "do you affirm?" now at the end and they dropped the religious crap. They'd probably hold you in contempt. Quakers swear no oaths. There's plenty of precedent for this. If the lawyer that intends to call you in any way suspects you'd say no, then they will never call you. It's equivalent to not clicking agree to the terms of service EULA when installing a new computer program. Even if the legalese jargon doesn't mean anything to you and you don't actually agree with what it says, you get booted out. End of story. Contempt of court. This is such a good question. I always wondered this too. Open mouth smile. Depends, but if you don't have a fucking good reason, it's contempt of court and it's jail time for you. It's much more wise to swear on something else. People that take their jobs seriously and have to testify in court usually swear on a book of law. Which makes more sense than a Bible anyway. I swore to tell the truth and told the court they were illegitimate. Ask Trump. Does it pay well? I would consider yes and plead the fifth, or what others have said, contempt of court. Saying no would be the truth, isn't it? What if I said no, but I was lying when I said that? Depends on your judge and the lawyer who presented you. If you're a friendly witness, the judge would probably admonish you once, then ask you to leave. Your testimony wouldn't get in. If you're a hostile witness, the judge would admonish you once. Depending on the judge's temperament, you'd probably be held in contempt. This can be a fine. Or the judge has you tossed in jail until you change your mind about testifying. Or both. Maybe they would be "no one has ever said that, do we do now?" But probably contempt and overnight stay in a cell. I imagine someone had said no before. I would assume you are not allowed to testify. The way it's set up is you are obligated to tell the truth under legal threat of perjury, and if you don't agree to that, then your testimony is useless. In my state you can swear or affirm. I think swearing is religious-based. Affirming for the atheists among us. If you're a witness you might be compelled, except for the Fifth Amendment issue. Dumb ways to die. You re-killed. Do not recommend.